Hello, race fans, and welcome to Kansas Speedway for tonight's running in the BNR Cup Series. We've got a pretty stacked field here with 25 entries tonight. Got 134 laps to run. As soon as we get some more cars gridded up, we will take you through the field. But in the meantime, we're joined by Will Roberts as always. Will, how we doing tonight?
Doing wonderful this evening, Chris. Excellent, like you said, turnout here at Kansas. Great to be here this evening with you, Chris.
Yes, I'm very excited. Big fan of these 1.5 mile tracks. The cookie cutters, as they call them.
Yes, indeed. More populated mile and a halves around the turn of the century, so they're kind of scattered across the states.
I like how you can run the higher lines. I like tracks where you can run higher, wider, turns, or you can run the lower
Oh,
lines. But I like when higher lines can be faster. That's kind of cool compared to, back in the day when we were younger and they were racing inside line was where you went. You didn't pass on the outside. That wasn't like what you did.
right. So many different lines here, Kansas, and a couple of other notable tracks, but predominantly here at Kansas, like you said, it can predominantly be a top line or top group track, so might see a bunch of drivers up against that wall this evening, so one to watch for sure on that high line.
So we'll see. Have to play out. But in the meantime, let's get the running through the grid real quick. Starting off on the pole, it's going to be Caleb Shelton with Samuel Archibald on his outside. Row 2 is going to have Jacob Delgado and John Tiller. Row 3 will be Sean Judson and Brandon Moore. Row 4 will be Jeff Gilmore, Scott Bidinger. Row 5 will be Nathan Line and Chris Schaefer. Row 6 will be Tyler Myers and Skylar Sixton. Row 7 will be Jacob Carter and Brian Huntley. Row 8, Josh Small and Cameron Smith. Row 9, Jason Pearson and Justin Steves. Row 10, Richard Johns and Carlton Sanders. Row 11, Kevin Roy and Jim Kolmensberger. Row 12 will be Aaron Bradford and Chris Campbell. And bring up the rear of the field will be Timothy Cook, starting off at 25th position. It's going to be your entire field. You can see the lights are off on the pace car, Will.
Yes, indeed, lights are off on the pace car bringing them through 3 and 4. He will then dart down into the safety and confines of pit road. Caleb Shelton bringing them to the initial start here. And looks like I'm going to say been waved off. Initial start has been waved off from the looks of things, so something possibly admin body did not like, and they waved it off, so gives us a chance to talk about a little bit of fuel mileage this evening. So 37 to 43 laps guesstimated on these fuel tanks this evening. Possibility of the drivers maybe extending that to maybe lap 45 or 45 laps into said fuel run. Just have to wait and see. We know these drivers can sometimes get at least a lap or two more out of the fuel mileage, so have to wait and see. And like you talked about here, that high lane may be the line to be in tonight. We'll just have to wait and see how many choose to venture up there. Kansas, pretty good track for all around racing. It multiple groove. The what's it called? The banking, the transition banking, or the aggressive banking. There we go. I found the right word. So looks like we're going to get a green flag start this time. And they are away at speed now, Chris, barreling down into 1 and 2. Looked
already
like,
making a move on the bottom, Jacob Delgado, but underneath of him is Samuel Archibald side by side, and up the backstretch already swapping positions.
yeah, Archibald probably didn't get the greatest of starts there in the outside lane, but still trying to hang there with them. Couldn't get nothing going initially out of turn 2. Delgado, though, with a great run, great launch on the restart, tried to get something going on the inside, but didn't quite have the run as Shelton kind of came up through the gears. As we see just about almost the entire field up there in that outside lane going through the corners. Still have some in the middle and bottom lanes, but that's probably where those drivers currently feel comfortable with. Not sure why. Oh, go ahead, Chris. My apologies.
Caleb Shelton still out front. Looks like he's being challenged by Sean Judson in that 19 car. Side by side behind them is at 45 and 70. 21.
Yeah, Judson has kind of leapfrogged his way.
We got a caution wheel. Ooh.
Oh.
He's at 22 and.
Yeah, I didn't get the read on the first car with the 22, but another look here, we'll get good good look.
Six. That's Myers.
Yes, Tyler Myers in the 6. Looks like maybe a 5-car wreck in total, just because unfortunately the innocent bystanders collected in this. Carter gets wicked loose coming off of turn 2, comes down, collects Myers, who was minding his own business, and Myers, after he gets detached from Carter, comes down the track, and I didn't get he clobbered somebody. I wasn't not too sure who he clobbered, but excuse me there. Gotta love when the sinuses just want to start acting up at all the right times. We saw Schaefer going slow, not sure if he had a penalty or maybe he was just having some.
Small. Sorry, Josh Small. Not Jacob.
Yes, Josh. Man. Oh, I think it might have been Bradford he went down and clobbered. Pearson kind of doors him, or doors Carter. He was kind of stuck nowhere to go.
That's the 8.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the 8, my bad. So that's Cameron Smith in the 8. Saw Cameron, he was in the outside lane trying to rip that early on, gained some ground, some positions, and like we talked about, just kind of get wrapped up in this early caution. Cars just, Kansas can, we kind of talked about earlier in the season about self-cleaning racetracks, just the speed you're carrying around Kansas here. If you kind of hit the wall at the right angle, you'll just ricochet down the track and sometimes collect other competitors. That's kind of what we see in this wreck here early on. And
look at the damage on that 23 car.
Yeah, not sure. Did Schaefer get caught up? I
think he had his own issue earlier on.
Yes.
A lot of damage on that car. And it looks like he just retired.
Yeah, that toe is definitely knocked out.
Oh, maybe not.
That car.
Said he retired. His car's still there. Looks like the lights are still on the pace car. We got a couple cars here with some pretty heavy damage. Pearson maybe just getting a little bit of damage fixed up. I don't think he got it too bad.
Yeah, he was kind of already committed to that lane when he arrived on the scene into the side of the 22, so I think he might have got a little bit of front and right side damage, but mostly more cosmetic, possibly to the body of the Pearson machine.
Well, Will, the lights are off on the pace car. We're going to give this one another try. See if we can get a long green flag run in here. Get some strategies planned for these guys.
Yeah, getting done working the first caution of the evening early on here, about lap 4, I want to say, was when the caution came out, so 200 miles this evening here at Kansas, kind of a, well, not kind of, the pretty sure the same length of Truck Series race here. So like we talked about previously, pretty much all the Cup Series races are the half the distance to a Cup race, what would be in real life, and pretty much equals out to be the length of a Truck Series event. Caleb Shelton trying to go back up to the high lane, in through the corners, get that arc, get that turn in how he needs it, as he leads the field off the green flag. Judson still trying to make moves here, as he's trying to get back settled into second place, but Archibald up there on the high lane trying to get that car and also everything else figured out.
No, we haven't seen Caleb Shelton in a hot minute, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's been a handful of weeks, that is for sure. You would be correct. After not too sure why he has kind of stepped away from the past couple of weeks, or maybe just went on vacation, or nevertheless back again here this evening.
Sixton, 99 car. Looks like the field is pretty broken up. As far as
they
front and back, I guess I should say.
Yeah, they got spaced out fairly quick here on this restart. For the most part, I'd have to agree. Yeah, so fairly long race, so you kind of want to give enough room and space to your competitors, still log some laps. You see some of the cars that were involved in the early caution repaired and trying to make their way up through the field. Looking back now to second on back off of the back bumper of the race leader. Good battle going on for second and third here. Sean Judson, Samuel Archibald in the 21 and 19 machines respectfully. And then Delgado and Tiller, they're kind of side by side duking it out. Bringing along Jeff Gilmore to the party.
Delgado sends it way down on the low.
Yeah, not sure. Yeah, I was about to say, not sure if he got loose off the corner, kind of chasing the car down there, or maybe just trying to break the side draft where he did.
Judson and Archibald still going at it.
And that's bringing, the rest of these guys in the top 5 up here even closer to them.
Opening up that lead for Shelton, for sure.
I think Shelton is catching one of the lap traffic machines, or one of the cars involved in the early skirmish. At least I thought he was. I thought I saw a car in front of him. I don't know where it went, but anywho. Must have been the imagination running wild. But yeah, that's a little good battle. We see good little battles all throughout the field. Not just what's going on currently inside the top 5, but little battle packs sprinkled throughout the track here. So
Bradford's on the pit road. Yeah, he didn't get in an accident, did he?
I think he might have got a piece of it. Tyler Myers back out, 10 laps down. Currently the first car 1 lap down, so if we was to get another caution or a slew of cautions, might help him in some way, depending on how much damage he still possibly could have. Not sure, with not having a quick fix in this, in the BNR Cup Series, gotta try to play everything cautiously, Chris, but sometimes, you get caught up in something out of your, not of your own doing, so sometimes, the repairs can be short. Sometimes you got to sit there a little bit and lose a little bit of ground and time, and unfortunately that is what has happened to a few, or at least a couple, competitors this evening so far. So
yeah, well, I've raced in leagues that have had zero quick fixes, and it is just absolutely so frustrating. On lap 1, somebody turns you get caught up in someone's stuff. Like you start off in the back so you can keep it clean, as we see a wreck right here with Tiller. Oh, and Archibald.
27 and 21 got together, possibly. I think Tiller was coming up to clear himself out of the corner. Yes, that's what happened.
A little further back than that.
The camera switched away right as, but man.
All right, let's take a look on.
I think Tiller was trying to kind of do like a slide, or maybe just come up and clear Archibald out of the corner, but Tiller just wasn't fully clear, unfortunately, because Archibald still had a little bit of run, still had a little bit of a nose there.
Try and here we go, on board with Judson. Yeah, it kind of looks like I'm gonna have to say Tiller went up more than anything. It looks like
I said, looks like Tiller. Oh yes, the 21 holds this line. He is really committed to that outside lane, and Tiller, just like I said, I think Tiller thinks he's clear, and he's going to come up in front of the 21. But unfortunately, the 21 of Archibald still had a nose on Tiller, and that's why we see this caution at the moment. So kind of seems not like they're trying to do it on purpose. Everybody in the pits currently
ironically
just kind of.
Oh, sorry. Ironically, Tiller's the leader right now.
Yep. kind of seems like this race might be a race of attrition if people can, like, if you can just stay away from your fellow competitor.
As you're saying, well, we've got cars on pit road.
I think Tiller will come down and pit this lap. Probably chose to stay out to lead a lap, perhaps. Get a valuable point.
Archibald
Or
with heavy
however,
damage.
yes,
That's unfortunate, as you know, he was early battling for that second place spot.
yeah,
Looking to be a
qualified
contender.
P2.
Yeah, exactly. Looking to be a
Great.
contender at the end of this one, but as we were just talking as the yellow came out, no quick fixes. And his car looks pretty heavily damaged.
You know, if it's not himself making a mistake or, say, over driving a corner, it's unfortunately just getting fenced in the wall or unfortunate circumstances, really. So, hate to see that for Samuel. Hopefully, you know, in the coming races moving forward that he shows up to, you know, he can be a bit better. Love to see the competitors showing up, giving it a try, but just sometimes doesn't go your way or not your night. So
Looks like we've got a new leader, Judson.
he must have had a fantastic pit stop during this caution
Yeah.
cycle, because Shelton had a pretty decent buffer before that altercation, and then led them down pit road. Probably just had a long stop. Maybe Shelton had to back up or something. Could have overshot, perhaps. Gilmore also, I think, jumped a position or two, so also got to remember there's also not those two cars up there in the top 5 anymore, so a couple of Ally sponsored cars this evening. Thankfully they are in completely different paint schemes. Sanders in the 24 and Delgado in the, yep.
I didn't even notice though. I mean, yeah, no, I didn't even notice.
Sometimes we'll have multiple Napa cars or different, you know, just different things like that. And it's kind of cool to see, as long as they're slightly different from one another. Or as long, numbers are different as well, so.
They always mess me up when they change their paint schemes up. As we green flag is off, huge jump for Judson. It's like Shelton did not get a good start at all, and Delgado got held up. Judson
Yeah, we do have
gone.
some sleepers on this restart. I do have to agree with that. Judson, tremendous launch for him. Gilmore trying to make some moves there alongside Shelton, so. But as we can see, that momentum, that run you get on that outside lane.
What was that? That was Nathan Line. Something
Maybe
just
the third
there.
caution of the night?
We're still green.
No.
There's two cars trying to get on the pit lane and just locked it up, I guess. Not sure what that was.
Oh, Cameron Smith getting onto the pits, and unfortunately, like you said, Nathan Line just right there, so.
It's like Gilmore's gotten clear of Shelton, but Shelton's not going to just let it go.
Not sure if the 8 of Cameron Smith had a penalty or what could have happened. Looks like maybe both of them, perhaps, just something of the sorts, but like you said, up here at the front, Shelton and Gilmore going at it, not letting each other go. Judson not really pulling out to a comfortable buffer at the moment. He's got a handful of a car length gap, I guess you could say, over the tussle. Now Shelton Shelton finally cleared Gilmore, and now the two allied cars are. Oh goodness! I go from a burp to a hiccup.
Gilmore's got a couple of allies behind him, but I don't think they're going to help him out.
No. Saunders got a bit squabbly. I want to say tight, then loose, then tight again. So that can happen a lot here at Kansas, especially in the aero wash of, these cars. Aero dependency. We talk about it just about each and every week about how difficult, how the handling of the car will change behind in the dirty air. So.
Tiller making his way back up because he's battling for 10th right now with Kolmansberger. Brian Huntley catching up on them, looking to get that 10th spot as well.
Just like in the real world, the higher you get up through the field after you make a mistake or get caught up in a crash or whatever happens, it's going to be even harder to pass, these competitors. Because, just as well as I do, Chris, the higher you get in the running order, you got faster competitors. So sometimes, just those faster competitors are going to be even harder to pass that second or third time around. Because, Tiller kind of, if I'm not mistaken, he started up there in the top 5, 6 positions. So he's now having to deal and work through the field now.
Judson continuing to lead over Shelton. Shelton trying to close that gap. But he is actually closing it now down to 3/10. Shelton using that high line. Judson running more towards the middle a bit.
Yes. And I think Shelton running even that lane higher is just giving him that run he needs off the corners to get to Judson. Now Judson possibly taking the line away from Shelton now as Shelton inches closer. Have to see now the lane he runs. So that could be one thing to do to kind of hinder when your competitor gets like to a certain distance to you after you see the lane possibly that they have been using. Okay, well, you can kind of get up in front of them and just throw that dirty air in front of them and kind of keep them at arm's length, if you will, because sometimes you get put back in that dirty air. It can be very difficult to make a pass, get a run build up, and get going. So you see a little bit further down here, so about 17th on back, man, we got some tussles going. I think Richard Johns switched manufacturers, car numbers, teams all together yet again. So back in a Ford, I haven't seen Richard drive a Ford in a while, so 17 car this evening. I wonder what made him switch manufacturers. So like we talked about before the drop of the green flag, just all the different lanes here at Kansas that you could choose to run and be fast and be quick or just, be consistent, more or less. And these drivers really showing it here, as looks like Shelton has creeped up on the back bumper of Judson. I think he might be there now.
Down to 2/10 now.
He got there, but he's still kind of stuck in
Oh,
that dirty air, Chris.
Shelton just
Yeah, he
smacked the
slapped the
wall.
wall.
Cost him a couple of tenths there.
The risk versus reward of running the high lane and trying to get a decent arc into the corner.
It's crazy. Will you ever try to run the high line anywhere with these high-speed tracks?
Oh, Kansas, Homestead,
When you pull it off and
Atlanta.
when you pull it off and you get so close to the wall, man, it's just a great feeling. But try doing it
But when you
twice,
get in it,
at least when you're
oh
on our
man,
level.
it is
It's glue.
it is something to rip around the high side. It is fantastic. It is just exhilarating. And then whenever you mess up, it is such it's just such a gut wrenching feeling because you possibly damaging the car or just losing any type of time or ground is just very very detrimental. I was trying to find a word that would help with your psyche. Oh, as Cook got in the wall, and Tiller will get by Cook there, so Tiller's still making his way through the field.
I think that's a Tesla decal on the front of Judson's Ford. Am I mistaken?
Well, we have seen Judson and his fellow compadres in the past run, I guess, Dodges.
That's a Tesla.
I'm trying to think what other schemes they had, but yeah, doesn't surprise me at all. It's kind of corny and goofy and funny, but
Still got the Mustang taillights. That's a loud
yeah,
Tesla. I miss the Dodges. I miss those I think it's the car tomorrow. Those ones with the very squarish nose, I guess. The original Chargers. I'm sure I'm talking about. They had like 4 grills, kinda. I like
yep.
those ones. Pontiacs, the Grand Prix, those were awesome back in the day.
Yeah, some General Motor teams, when they would go to Daytona and Talladega, they would actually switch, like say in the Busch series or some of the low tier teams in the Cup series. If they were running a Chevrolet, they would switch to a Pontiac during the super speedway races because the Pontiac nose and just how the body kind of slouched further back in the car, it had a slight aero advantage, like the 01 and the number 4 Morgan LaFleur Racing. Trying to remember what other teams kind of did that. Now there was a couple of years there where Joe Gibbs Racing were Pontiacs, but
Oh yeah, like Bobby Labonte.
yep, Bobby and Stewart, they, I think for 3 years, or it might have been 4, they were Pontiacs, but still under the General Motors umbrella, of course. But yeah, Judson really holding a strong piece here this evening, still, at least as I was saying that. Shelton goes to venture to take the lead back here from Judson. So these two really have a good, comfortable lead. Might as well say 2 seconds over the rest of the field. And then Delgado has a buffer over Gilmore. Might as well say 1.25 seconds there.
So from first to fourth is a pretty big gap. Everybody's spread.
Yep.
And fourth on back's a bit tighter. They're actually racing.
Yep, you got Gilmore, and then Sanders and Johns just swapped positions, and they still doing so. Richard finding himself inside the top 5 here, so good drive for Richard early on. not too far past the 100 lap mark, so as far as 100 laps to go, we're under that now. Had been so for just over 10 laps. As, man, these guys back here fighting for just fourth on down. What is this? Throw a blanket over fourth down to 10th. So 8 cars here. Or is that 6? I might need to go back to kindergarten. 3, 4, 5. Up 7. Cook still struggling in that outside lane. Probably can't get the car to turn a little bit further down. He was running inside the top 10, but now kind of middle portion of this run, you might as well say, and probably just can't get the car to turn down a little bit further how he wants it. Just about every time we kind of get a glimpse of the Cook machine, he's kind of scraping the wall here or there, so you definitely don't want to be doing that, but seems to have some good short run speed. If only he could muster or find that medium to longer run speed here at Kansas.
I think both of those ally cars have fallen back.
Well, Delgado still maintaining that third position, but don't know for how much longer. But yes, Saunders, he is now outside the top 10.
Yeah, I'll retract that last statement. I thought I saw both of them falling back as Sanders hits the wall. Very light brush.
You see the 47 of Brandon Moore making it 3 wide and going through the middle. Picking up a couple of places. He now decided to venture through the field. Running that Mark Martin scheme, it looks like, so.
Another back in the day.
Yeah, kind of surprised to see Moore back here. I would have figured he would have been up near about the top 5, but back here making his way through the top 10 at the moment. Also Kevin Roy just outside the top 10. Looks like Brian Huntley as well, but man, just a good squabble going on currently.
Yeah, good racing all over the track. This one's definitely not boring. See, this is what I'm talking about, Will. I like these 1.5 mile tracks. They can provide plenty of action.
Plenty of action indeed, Chris, as just a big battle group here.
John's just fell back pretty hard.
Yeah, it's about that medium point in the run, or the middle portion of the run, and just doesn't seem to have that longevity that Caleb Shelton has.
Seems like maybe he used his equipment up a bit, getting up to the front so quickly, and then it just kind of goes away.
Yeah, once he had the fresh air, he kind of, for sure, you could kind of tell he was kind of driving a little bit hard there with those fresh tires. You know, we saw everybody coming in pit on the last caution there, that last cycle of pit stops under that yellow flag, and everybody came into pit. Judson had the lead when they came out, so he restarted as the leader. He pulled out to a decent lead, then Shelton ran him down here, and Delgado is now falling into the clutches. Brandon Moore, man, Moore made quick work of all of those guys there and got onto the back bumper of Delgado, so I guess Brandon Moore heard me whenever I said I'm surprised he's not in the top 5, and he made that charge through the field for sure. Now, setting in 3rd place, made the pass on Delgado.
He must have heard you and said, "Frig you, Will. I'm gonna go up there then."
Yep. Like you said, man, Judson just plateaued off the cliff. Drastically, like, tire fall off can be very crucial here. Probably why you see Brandon Moore kind of charging up through the field at this portion at this point in the run here. Then a couple of others already kind of did, and now you see them kind of fall down the running order, fall back down. Richard Johns now outside of the top 10. He was as high as 4th position a moment ago, and gonna have a lot of comers and goers with, you know, charging hard on the fresh tires and then not being able to sustain that as the run keeps going longer and longer. Skylar Sixton trying to make his way to the top 5. Jim Coleman'sberger in the 11 Folgers machine has made his way to the top 5, so never count out Jim. As the race can keep going longer and longer, Jim is just one of those long run type of guys. Really likes to see as much green flag racing as possible. That really helps out Jim a lot, because once Jim can get into a rhythm, it's almost lights out for everybody else once he can find it. Really good run for Jim tonight.
He goes trying to get that 3rd spot from Delgado. Was that 4th? 4th, sorry.
You're good. I think what Brandon Moore needs now would be another caution, so he could kind of get exactly caught back up to Caleb Shelton. I think he could possibly might have something for Caleb here. But if it stays green from here on out, I don't know. Unless he can make up some miraculous time in the pits. We've seen in some cases how Brandon Moore can make up ground just by entering the pits, but
pit taker will. Gilmore going to be bringing him in under that green flag. Let's see what he's going to do.
I think this will start a cycle of green flag stops. Seems about right timing from when we last went green from our previous caution, or our last caution that we had. So he might start bringing more and more competitors down the pits here. Have to wait and see what happens.
So Gilmore going to be the first one to take the green flag pit stop, taking 4 tires and some fuel. Back on track. And oh no, we got a yellow flag. And who is that? Is that Kevin Roy? He was down low. So let's take a look.
Kevin has just made his way inside the top 10 as well.
Oh, he's trying to get on a pit road.
Oh man.
And that shouldn't have brought out a caution though.
That's crazy.
Like
if that's what brought out the... Oh.
I don't...
Well then.
Well, I don't think that's what the caution... Because that was after. But
even then, like maybe the likelihood of that breaking out of caution, him being way down off the racing surface. But
oh, that is a separate. Oh, you know, okay, you know what? This explains it now. What happened to Kevin Roy was he must have been trying to get onto pit road, and caution came out right as he was there, and he probably jumped back up. But that's probably what
yes,
happened.
that explains. I can
Everything.
understand that from yes.
So now
Car just got
Gilmore
out from
should.
underneath Archibald there.
So Gilmore should get a waiver on, right? So
Depending, he should be the first car one lap down, I do believe, I think.
yes.
In a way, that's going to hurt Gilmore because he's going to have to restart behind everybody.
But at least he's not a lap down.
Binger was back there with him, so don't know if he kind of pitted before Gilmore or if he just
I think Gilmore
went a
was the
lap
first
down.
one. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look. Here we go. Binger. He pitted on 21.
Oh, okay. So looks like Judson got the lead back again as they came out of pit road again under this caution period. Coleman'sberger up 19 spots. He's got to be our biggest mover of the race.
So as you were saying, well, this is not what he would want to see.
No, because you know when you get the lucky dog or the wave around, you have to start behind the cars that are a lap down, like multiple laps down, or weren't lucky enough to get the wave around or the lucky dog. So you're kind of stuck there. Judson with another really good launch this time as the race leader, but looks like Shelton like able to just get back to him now quickly, trying to work along the inside of him, but Judson's going to have the run off on the high side.
Ooh, contact with Huntley and Tiller.
Yes.
You know, well, I was calling that whole thing from the green flag drop, and I didn't realize my mic was up.
Hey, it happens to me a lot of the time too, so that was some good argy-bargy contact between the 4 and the 27, so probably Tiller thought that Brian was gonna...
Shelton's
I
way
missed
down
it.
low. Let me back that up. I think Shelton got super loose up the corner.
I was gonna say I could... Oh man, yeah, he did. Out there, and just that aero tightness, like we talked about, made him go to the wall. And man, he was trying to turn out of it for days.
Ooh.
Back to the live action. Yes, he did, man. Getting put in the middle of that dirty air, just of being compacted from the race leader, and then right there, when a car can get right up to your back bumper or to one of your quarter panels or just to that spoiler of your car, all that air being compacted, and it man, you know, just as I do, Chris, it is going to make your car handle so awkwardly, so ill.
It really does. It's very odd that it does that. Oh, and 41 down there. Bradford, I believe. He's off the corner, saves it though. Bradford at 41. I think he just got loose off the corner as well. Shelton back up into third. I think just coming off the corner and dipping it way down low just broke his focus and needed to get well, refocused. And in the process of that, dropped back a few spots. It looks like he's back on track now. Currently in fourth with his sights on Huntley and Tiller.
Yes, Tiller applying the pressure to Huntley as they battle for second and third. Shelton trying to find some type of way around the two, trying to get by and dispose of them quickly because he does not want no Folgers coffee, as Jim Coleman'sberger right there. He says, I'll just keep my Pepsi. Don't give me coffee with my Pepsi. As movement further back in the field for just outside the top five looks about a sixth. No, that's seventh on back. Looks to be a little bit, yes.
He's
but
getting held up bad.
Almost in the same token, it is a situation that he's kind of put himself in because of the hard charging, battling that he did with Judson early on this restart. You know, he really screened the tires. He got loose, got really tight, then had to crank it down off the track or off the wall to keep it out of the wall. So sometimes yes, it did. Sometimes you
just hit the wall again.
Multiply. He got awful close to it.
I thought I heard him hit it. Let's take a look.
Sometimes as a race car driver or a sim amateur racing driver,
I guess
he got awful close to it. But you know, you can keep compounding mistakes after mistakes or mistake after mistake, and it can frustrate you severely. And we can kind of see the driver's tempo change, I guess you could say, or just the drive of the car change.
Josh Small right on the back bumper of, who was that, Pearson? He was, anyways, going on the back stretch. And then Nathan Line behind
Yes,
Small.
that is the Pearson machine. And on the high set. So Josh got a real good run on the bottom. Looks like take that position. Even if that is a position. Are they battling for position? Pearson?
No. Pearson's not on the lead
no.
lap, but Small is in 10th. Huntley up in second right now. He's already got 2 wins this season and in the playoffs. He's looking to grab one so he can lock himself in the next round. Looks like Shelton's getting by Tiller now for 3rd place.
And next week will be Darlington, elimination race, the first elimination race of the playoffs in the BNR Cup Series. Oh goodness, man, I'm burping and hiccuping a lot tonight, Chris. Anywho, so if you can get a win at Kansas, if you have the ability to win at Kansas, or at least be up front, if you can be in the top 5, the top 3, then you have a chance of being there, possibility at the end of the race to win the race. So, if you can get a win, that's a whole heck of a lot better than pointing your way into the next round, because Darlington, it doesn't matter how many wins you had up until the playoffs. When the playoffs start, that's a kind of a reset there. And no matter what buffer or points you were able to have above the cutoff to where, X amount get eliminated, then, say last race, you could have had a bad race. Well, you could be close to being eliminated, and then you got to try to make up all the ground as possible at Kansas, because Darlington, let's face it, there's only an X amount of people, a couple of handfuls of people that are actually great at Darlington. And whenever I say great, I mean they are going to be able to just run consistent lap times. And, average Joe or average us, Chris, we're just going to be pounding the wall now, at Darlington. So Darlington is not a race that everybody is going to be able to go out there and win, Only really, I see Darlington as one of those select few type of tracks or facilities where certain individuals, each and every league or series, you kind of know, all right, well, that person, they got Darlington locked away if they show up, So it's almost like when you go to a road course and that one guy or that one person that every time you go to the road course, all right, well, they're lights out, But most of the time, the average person, the average Joe, is not going to be, good. They're just going to be okay at Darlington. And okay sometimes can get you by, but it may not get you into the next round. Anyway, we're not at Darlington. We are still at Kansas. So Toto and the lovely Twister has not carried us to South Carolina yet. So, Judson, kind of I don't want to say a surprise performance by him tonight, but one that is very interesting to say the least, because we know Judson, Sean does have his tracks just like everybody else where he can be lights out at, and he has really proven that tonight.
He got a win this year, didn't he?
Las Vegas, I believe, but he kind of, everybody kind of wrecked in that final corner on that green-white checkered, I believe, if I can rewind my memory back to Las Vegas. So he kind of lucked into that one that night, if I'm not mistaken. But still, he was just able to be there at the end.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Still
that's what you got to, exactly.
Well, Will, we're almost to 90 laps tonight. This one's winding down past the halfway. Like,
Only
Huntley's
4
challenging
cautions, I
Benson.
believe.
Yeah,
So
quite
not.
some good green runs.
Oh yeah, we've had great green flag action. On the verge of seeing a green flag pit stop, but didn't quite get it. We still could possibly still see a green flag pit stop if it stays green from here on out. And like if we would still probably need it to be a quick caution, and even then maybe everybody would probably go into that fuel saving mode possibly after the caution ends anyway. So but right now, if it stays green, we should see a pit stop about probably 115 maybe to 120, maybe even earlier than that. But I'm thinking that may be a bit too late. Maybe they might actually cut it in half here, and right around, I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe 5 more laps from now, so maybe 96 to 100, maybe. Excuse me.
So we're thinking within the next 10.
Yeah, good possibility. If not, maybe 15. So good scrapping up here. Jim Coleman'sberger really hanging strong tonight. Biggest mover of the race. Shelton, once Shelton got, I guess you could say, out of focus or just had those big slides, really cost him and hurt him. And he's been in that dirty air ever since. Hasn't been able to get, I don't want to say get the same composure he had from the start of the race or what, but I guess I need to say Brandon Moore's name again. Maybe he might find that extra gear. But at the moment, I don't want to say they've kind of spreading out because, man, the top 4, they're still there, but we've still got some good battling throughout the field as well. So 5th, or not 5th, but 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Kevin Roy just about a second, and so are maybe a half a second behind 9th. Kevin Roy, good quick reaction to the caution coming out and pits being closed immediately when caution flag comes out. So quick reaction.
That was good, Will. I was quite impressed by that, actually.
Oh yeah,
Quick reaction, because I probably would have just continued down and gotten the penalty and then complained about it.
it would have been really great if he could have been in the pits, though, if he could have hit that commitment line, I suppose, and but then maybe coming back around, he could have lost a lap or who knows. So, but yes, quick thinking to not, I guess you could say, get a penalty or even lose the time you would. So, good quarrel for 5th place on down 8th. Oh, no, that's still 9th. Yeah, they're still there. Almost a jet fighter or TIE fighter formation. 3 wide at one point.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Sixton tonight. Up there in 5th now.
Yeah, Skyler's been real quiet. But sometimes being quiet is the best move to make because that has gotten him into 5th place. Just epic battles, man. Jim Coleman'sberger currently 2nd place. Biggest mover of the night, keeps going forward. He's only got one more place to go, and he'd be the leader. So, what a run from Jim as Huntley and Shelton battle for 3rd and 4th. Not really missing much at the front with this pack that we're showing. Oh!
Wow.
Man, they are really going at it
Oh,
for
man.
3rd and 4th.
Ooh, she's
Huntley
banging
holding
doors.
Shelton down on that bottom lane. Shelton says, knock, knock, I want to come back up.
Brian says no.
Sometimes that's what you got to do. You know, you got to run your competitor down to the paint, perhaps, or you know, if they venture to go down onto the flat, hey, you chose that. As we've seen some competitors run down there. Some leagues or some series, they just go, well, hey, you chose to go down there. The other car that's actually on the racing surface on the track doesn't necessarily have to let you back up. So we still see the hard racing from Shelton and Huntley, as this is going to bring Skyler into the mix here, battling for 3rd place, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Hard battling here between these competitors. Slide job by Shelton. Brian's going to look to get it back on the inside, but no go, as the 99 gets alongside Skyler Sixton. Now gets by Brian, kind of disposes of Huntley, now going after Shelton. You would think that these two competitors, as far as the 4 and the 73, really drove their cars to the edge, really. And their tires could be very, very more worn than what Skyler's could be. Even though Skyler battled fiercely earlier, as we saw just a handful of laps ago, he was battling with those 4 or 5 cars just to get through the top 10. Now Judson has now worked his way to the bottom of the track, working the bottom lane. Coleman'sberger, though, been wrapping around the high lane, and he's actually inked. Yes?
Take a look at who's running up the track here in the top 5 right now. You are spot on. You just had to say his name again. Look at him go. Brandon Moore.
Yeah, Brandon really attacks later into the run here. Heaven forbid if this was actually a 267 lap race, because we would probably see Brandon doing this all night long, just destroying everybody mid to late portion of the run.
Shelton just hit pit road. And looks like Kevin Roy followed him.
So directly cutting this in half or thereabouts, as far as a little bit after half, going maybe 60% of the way, or maybe that could be 75.
Coleman'sberger.
As far as
Brandon Moore.
So
Huntley. Carter.
Okay, so Jim pitted before Sean, right?
Oh, let's take a look.
If Sean is still out, Sean's still out there on track. So this could be beneficial for Jim short pitting here, because he was only about 5/10 of a second back from Sean. If the undercut could be worth anything at all, it would be during this cycle right here, and how much longer Judson continues to stay out. And, you know, truly, if tire fall off means anything at all here at Kansas, we might see.
Here it goes. Sixton's gonna follow him. Gilmore. Let's see now. Tiller is the current leader.
Skyler had a bad time trying to get onto pit road. About nearly missed it as he locked it up, trying to get the transition from the banking onto the flat of the track. Tiller back in the lead, like you said, Saunders. So those are the two that still have yet left to pit.
Here comes Tiller. A little lock up. He's got some right side damage on that car. Sanders gonna stay out and lead a lap. 25 laps to go. Well, Judson comes back out in 4th place. Looks like once everything gets settled down, Judson's probably going to be in 1st and Coleman'sberger in 2nd. Johns has not pitted yet. He's pitted on lap 98.
Coleman'sberger's right there on the back of Sean Judson. So perhaps Coleman'sberger pitting, I believe it was 2 laps before Judson. That could be, if anything, could be what helps Coleman'sberger get by Judson. He's got there, but now can he get by? But Shelton's also there as well. Shelton gained a lot of time here, kind of short pitting. He kind of started this pit cycle, brought everybody down to pit road with him afterwards. So he's got a few lap fresher or older tires compared to Coleman'sberger and Judson. But Judson overall has the freshest tires out of the front group here, the front 3. Looks like Shelton blew a corner and lost some ground there, so.
Ooh,
but
Judson.
He still has.
Looks like he
still has
sparks
the
come
toe.
off his car. Sorry, Will. Thought I got
Yeah, there's a bump right in the middle of 1 and 2 on the very top lane. He could have hit that and grounded out the bottom of the car. So it is a 3-way battle in the closing 20 laps here at Kansas in the BNR Cup Series.
Johns is still not pitted, out there leading right now. He yeah, he's the one that pitted on lap 98, so. So, Will, does that put him inside the fuel window, or is he have to stop?
When did he last pit?
98.
It'd be cutting it extremely close.
Huntley didn't really fare too well on that one. He's back in 9th now.
But these drivers with the fresh tires compared to John's,
closing in a hurry on the back bumper of Jones.
Evan Roy trying to do something against Delgado. Looks like Brandon Moore going to get a top 5 finish. Josh Small currently 6th. Don't know if he'll get a top 5, but just waiting. Currently seeing what's going to happen here.
I'm gonna
Richard
guess
goes all the way down to the flat. Go ahead, Chris.
We'll see him probably pit this time. He's down low. You know he's on the older stuff and he's not as fast. So let's see. And I was wrong.
If he pitted at lap 98, he could have came in and just possibly taken fuel. So
Brandon Moore about to pass him, looking on the high side. Here we go, Huntley trying to get by Delgado. Not going to be able to do it this time.
I feel like if the front 3 get kind of racy, Brandon Moore almost could be within striking distance here.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost within a second.
Coleman'sberger still on the back bumper, just a couple of tenths off of Judson.
$15 laps to go.
So it looks like it could have turned into a 4-horse race.
It's like Josh Small maybe setting himself up for a top 5 potentially. Richard Jones on those older tires. Small currently running in 6th place. Huntley trying to claw his way back up. Kevin Roy following him. And it's like Sigston's all the way back here in 11th, so he may be one of those long run kind of cars as we see him come alive at the end of that run.
Yes, I'd have to agree with that.
Tiller is
kind of unfortunate not. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tiller seems like he's kind of back and forth. Like he'll be up front a lot, and then he'll be in the back, and then he'll be in the front, and then he'll be in the back. See, it seems like that's how he is almost every week.
Sometimes it can be very hard to be constantly consistent. Like you need to be everywhere to just stay up at the front of these races. Brandon Moore now on the back of Caleb Shelton. Trying to apply some pressure there, take 3rd position away. as Jim Coleman'sberger still ripping the high lane. Still have faith in that, not letting that die, as Sean Judson has opened up the lead yet again. So just over a half a second.
Shelton gets by Coleman'sberger for second, and Moore gets by Coleman'sberger as well. He's working on him right now. He doesn't have him quite cleared. So they go across the line with 10 to go. Ooh,
Coleman'sberger in the wall. Got a bit of that arrow wash into the wall. Just car kind of slid up. Nowhere to go. Shelton went a bit high as well. So currently battling second and third here. 47 and 73 machines.
Wow, those top four have a huge lead over the rest of the field.
5 seconds back to Delgado. Good side-by-side racing for second and third there. Caleb Shelton able to get it through the run that he had off the top of the track. Looks like Sean Judson able to just take it away this evening. He's been on a very good Saturday evening drive. I would say Sunday, but this is not Sunday, but not like he hasn't fought for it, that's for sure. He's had plenty of moments of having to fight, and Judson was kept honest this evening by Caleb Shelton at times. Jim Coleman'sberger was up there applying pressure to him. Just neither could not Judson this evening.
Great run for
but
him.
Still,
if he takes the win home, he's going to be locked into the next round.
Oh, most certainly, yes, indeed. Like we talked about, that's exactly what you want, because you may not be that great at Darlington, so...
You know what? Well, I'm noticing Brian Huntley is the, after Judson, Brian in 6th place is the first playoff car. It's like most of the cars up front are not in the playoffs. Interesting. Shelton still on that high line, like you said. Just 4 laps to go.
They could be. They just may not have that playoff banner on their car. I think that is something you have to, like, put on your car.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you have to do that. So, I'm not 100% sure with the point standings at the moment. So,
man, you look at this timing here. He's closing it in and opening up a little bit, but he's reeling in some more. Judson just wanting these laps to be over quick, I'm sure. Looks like he's just about keeping an even this. Well, now he's closing in a bit more. So we got just 2 laps to go. 8/10 off now. Judson needs to just put down some clean laps.
well, Shelton got back into his composure, finally closing laps really, really late in the race, ripping that top lane, trying to find some speed, build it back up. I don't think it's going to be enough, though, Chris.
Yeah, you know what? It's something we often forget, or at least I do, is despite the time gap, you get to him, you still got to get by him.
Oh yes, that two vastly different, things there, like you say. Once you get to him, you still got to get by him. And sometimes a race car can be the whitest thing in the world.
Oh, I know it. White flag.
So,
Judson going in the turn 3 for the last time tonight. Sean Judson's going to be your winner at Kansas Speedway. Caleb Shelton bringing it home in second, and Brandon Moore gets up there for a top 3. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, get with our top finishers, and we'll be right back.
Watch him, guys.
We're here with our top finisher, Brandon Moore. Brandon, I think Will was your lucky charm tonight. Every time he'd say your name, you'd end up going up through the field. Then we hang back a little bit. He said, I think I need to say Brandon's name again. And then I said, and the next thing I knew, I said, hey, Will, look who's in fifth place.
I'm telling you what, I was the most conservative tire person in the world. I just watched them all go beat the tires off of it, and I said, I'll see you later after they do that. But
Man,
it was a fun race overall. I enjoyed it.
yeah, well, you did great saving the tires, and then you just absolutely surged right up there. Like you had brand new tires on the thing, blowing them away, bringing it home in third place. Who do you want to thank?
I just want to thank everybody who came out there to watch us on the stream. Thank all the competitors, and thank you all for always putting on a good broadcast. I think we would have had something for the leader if I could have cleared Caleb, but I burned him up on the bottom trying to do so. But can't be mad with a P3. I'll take that any day.
Absolutely. So congratulations on that third place finish, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon, Brandon.
All right, sounds good. Thank y'all.
All right, let's bring Caleb Shelton, second place finisher tonight. You're very strong all night fighting with Judson. Just come up a little bit short. What more could you have needed, Caleb?
Uh, I think I needed about 5 more laps and maybe just a few less laps fighting with Brandon for second or third there late in the race because I got real tight after all that. I mean, it was a really good battle, but yeah, it was tough, and that burned up my tires, so I didn't really feel like I had the speed, and I got in the wall a couple times during the race as well. So I had a little bit of damage. It wasn't like a lot, a few seconds, but I couldn't sit in the pits and get repairs, so it
Yeah, we
wasn't
saw
hurting
you.
me too bad though.
Yeah, we did see you running that high line quite a bit and brushed the wall a few times. But
Yeah, the high line here is just so much faster. But man, when you're in traffic, it gets real tight up off the corner.
yeah. All right, well, congratulations on that second place finish. Who do you want to thank?
Oh, just thanks to the guys I was racing tonight. They were clean, raced me hard. I like that. That's a lot of fun. That's how it should be. So thanks to those guys.
All right, congratulations, Caleb.
Thank you.
And now we've got your big winner tonight, Sean Judson. Sean, absolutely dominant performance out of you tonight, holding off Shelton all the way to the finish of this race. Tell us about your night.
Well, didn't quite get the qualifying I was hoping for. Never a really strong suit for Kansas qualifying, but longer runs, I managed to find something there running the bottom after 20 or so laps and just able to hold everybody away. And then those last 20 or 30 laps, I was driving the wheels off of this car, trying to build enough of a lead. That way, when Caleb finally got to second, I knew I'd be safe.
Well, you did a great job with that for sure, getting to the finish just in time before he was able to catch up to you. Being out front all night, showing on an absolutely dominant performance. Who do you want to thank, Sean?
My team, Fat Boys Motorsports, Scott, Cole, AJ, Alex, Monsters, W Energy, Juddy Designs, BCC Custom Creations, KDC Photography, Robinson Racing Promotions. Everybody on the team who lets me keep doing what I do and coming out and showing up for these races.
All right, congratulations on another win. That one's going to lock you into the next round of the playoffs, by the way.
Definitely needed it because I'm going to be missing next week at Darlington. My ship is going out to sea for 2 weeks. So I definitely needed to run well tonight to be able to move on.
All right, well, almost being in a must-win situation gets it done tonight. Congratulations on that big win.
Thank you.
Uh, Final thoughts for the evening after Sean Judson putting on just such a performance. What do you got, Will?
Yes, Chris, I agreed. Great performance. Congratulations to Sean Judson. Excellent, excellent race he ran to get the win here this evening, and also to everybody else who showed up. ran this race as well. Fantastic race, Chris. Only had, what was it, 4 cautions, I do believe. So, fantastic race. We saw green flag cycle pit stops occur. So, got to see, how the strategy kind of unfolded when they decided to pit. Next week at Darlington, that's going to be one tough challenge for these competitors as they go into that elimination race of the first round here in the BNR Cup Series. So, like I said, fantastic race overall this evening. I thought lots of good racing all throughout the field. Everywhere we looked, there was just about a battle. You almost couldn't get away from just 2 cars somewhere out on the track battling amongst themselves. So, great race tonight at Kansas. We saw them using every inch of this track as was to be expected here tonight. So, like I said, kind of can't wait to see what the first elimination race kind of unfolds at Darlington next week, Chris.
Absolutely. Like I said, there was not a dull moment here tonight at Kansas. Always some side-by-side action to see somewhere on the track at all times. Never a dull moment tonight. But as you said, also Darlington next week. Looking forward to that one. The track that's too tough to tame. See who's going to be able to tame it, because someone's going to have to do it. But that's going to do it for us here at 1-5 Studios. We'd like to thank you for joining us. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the racing action every Saturday night, 8:30 Eastern, right here on the 1-5 Studios YouTube page. Again, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next track.